Welcome to this introduction to Gridware applications on Alces Flight Compute clusters. Before we get started, you'll need to have an Alces Flight Compute cluster launched on AWS, and you'll need to have SSH access to that environment. As we saw in the previous video, users can install their own RPM software packages on their cluster using Yum. However, many scientific and research software packages have more complicated dependencies and installation routines than regular Linux packages. The Alces Gridware tool is designed to help researchers install even complicated applications on their compute clusters quickly and easily. Gridware enables you to choose from a library of application software which is simple to install and can be customized as much as you need for different purposes. The first difference between Gridware and using Yum is that Gridware packages are centrally installed on your shared cluster file system. That makes them available to all cluster login and compute nodes, however large your cluster is. New applications are installed with supporting environment module files that makes the applications easy to find and use. Applications are typically installed from the cluster login node, as the cluster admin user you created when the environment was launched. From the login node of your Alces Flight Compute cluster, use the command Alces Gridware list to view the available packages available for installation. To search for a particular package, use the Alces Gridware search command. For example, to search for an application named Bowtie, you'd use Alces Gridware search Bowtie. The system will report all applications with that name or any applications that work with or depend on that application. To install a new software package, use the command Alces Gridware install and then the name of the application. For example, apps Bowtie 110. The cluster will automatically download the source code for your application, prepare any dependencies for its installation, and then compile the application on your cluster. Applications are grouped into repositories. Here we're installing from the main repository. A type of software, applications, compilers, libraries, or MPIs. The name of your application and the version number. The repository may hold multiple version numbers for the same application. Once your application is installed, it's available on both the login nodes and the compute nodes for your cluster. An environment module is automatically created to allow you to load that application. Once your application is installed, you can use the module avail command. Here is the new application module that was installed with that application. Use the module load command with the name of your application to load it. The module load command supports tab auto completion. Just press the tab button on your keyboard to complete the name of the module. Loading a module sets a number of environment variables for Linux. For example, it sets up your path, your LD library path, and man pages. It also sets some application-specific environment variables. For example, the name of the application with a dir on the end for its home directory. With our module loaded, the application has now been put in our path. We can run the application on a compute node via an interactive job. Run the qrsh command to get a login session on one of our compute nodes. The module load command can be used to load the application module for the Bowtie application. Bowtie comes with a number of sample sequences, so we can use the cd Bowtie dir command to get to the application home directory. We can then call the application with the command Bowtie and give it some parameters to run a test job. The application processes the file we've given it and prints the output to the screen in our interactive job session. Alces Gridware can also resolve dependencies when installing applications, using both the central Linux distribution and other Gridware packages as sources. For example, if we use the Alces Gridware list command and I want to install the Stampy application, I can use Alces Gridware to install a binary version of that application to reduce the compilation and install times. Do Alces Gridware install, use the -- binary switch, and then the name of the application. Gridware will automatically download a pre-compiled version of Stampy for the particular instance type you're running. The system will then do system-level dependency analysis, installing any Linux prerequisites to allow the Stampy tool to run. This can take some time if you have a smaller instance, but typically happens within a few minutes on the larger instance types. Once the application is installed, you can use it again using an interactive job on one of your compute nodes. When you load the module for Stampy, the system will automatically resolve any dependencies for the Linux distribution that are required to run the application. This allows supporting compute nodes on an auto-scaling cluster, where nodes may have been shut down and may just have been started back up. Every time you load the application module on a node, distribution dependencies will be checked, making sure that applications can always run across your compute cluster. Once dependency analysis is complete, you can use the Stampy module as usual. Where there are more complicated prerequisites for applications, the system will prompt you to install different libraries and different Gridware applications as you need them. For example, installing the R interpreter has a number of prerequisites. We'll install the binary version here for speed. The system will prompt, showing you a list of the prerequisites it wishes to install. Select yes, that will import each of the prerequisites in turn, along with solving any Linux distribution dependencies for each. Again, when you launch the R interpreter from a compute node, Alces Gridware will automatically install any dependencies that are required. Do a module load apps R. This compute node will then automatically download and install the distribution dependencies to allow it to run the R interpreter. Once prerequisites are installed, just use the R utility as normal. Users can also use module load files as part of their Grid Engine job scripts. For example, here we have an R job script. Here's the command interpreter at the top, bin bash. Here's our module load command. We're doing a quick demo in R, and then we're running R against that demo file. Launching that job script, we'll run it on one of the cluster compute nodes. The output is saved to our home directory and shows R running through that job after loading the module. Look at the other videos on our website for more information on submitting jobs and running them across your compute cluster. That concludes this video. Please watch the other videos in the series for more information about using your cluster and running applications through the job scheduler. To find documentation online, just go to our website, alces-flight.com, click on the documentation link. That will give you all the printed documentation for using the system.